everybody. I'm sitting here with a man in New Zealand that needs no introduction, but we'll introduce it for anybody out there in the world that listens to this. We're sitting here with Art Green. I guess you call him the founder, runner, I don't know, salesman often of Riot Foods.
Yeah.
How are you today, Art? What have you been doing up this weekend? It's been a parallel.
That's me. Thanks for the introduction. I'd say I'm a runner. Yeah, I'm a runner of Riot Foods. I'm trying to think what I got to in the weekend. Actually, this weekend was really cool. On Saturday, a friend of mine, she has been running around the world, literally running around the world to raise awareness for climate change. So she's run 400 Ks in over 17 different countries in 30 days. Yeah, so she had her final, so she's done it in like half marathon stints, so 21 Ks each time. Yeah. And her last one was on Saturday in Auckland. So she's, flew all around the world, and then she came home for her last one, and there was a big, tribe of us who got behind her and ran with her for that. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty knackered after that because I haven't run for quite a while, not that long and not that far anyway. So, but it was amazing. That was really cool. So that was my Saturday. Sunday, I can't remember what I did, but actually I went to the beach because it was a beautiful day. Absolutely. And what's your favorite beach for Auckland, bro? Kohi.
Oh.
Kohimarama.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, who is Art Green today, man? He's massive, but what defines you, brother?
Who am I today? I guess I'm just I'm kind of just like you, just a very standard kind of Kiwi guy. Grew up on a farm, went to high school, went to Otago Uni, like a bunch of other people, and then through different decisions I've made throughout my life, it landed me in a position where I was lucky enough to be given the opportunity to go on a TV show to meet the love of my life, as the fairy tales would tell you. And I just got have kind of gone from there, and I've just been incredibly lucky with that sort of stuff. And then, but also before that, I kind of been on a health journey for myself personally for the last 8 or 9 years, and that's resulted in me trying out lots of different health, nutritional, regimes and stuff, and then and deciding on one that works the best for me, and then wanting to make a business out of it and help other people to improve their health as well. So now I'm also a health food business sort of entrepreneur, and so that's kind of me at the moment. I wear lots of different hats, but I keep pretty busy.
Nice. So I think we'll dive into why the health journey. There's lots of us out there finding our own thing, and plenty of us coming to the same conclusion. But what sparked it for you, mate? Probably Otago Uni.
It was, yeah, totally. Yeah, well, I mean, because so at Otago, I studied sports science. Yep. and exercise physiology, and I did a lot of nutritional papers and stuff like that. And I thought that I knew enough about nutrition and what I should be eating and what's right and what's wrong. And I thought, just because I've always been pretty slim, and I thought I've always been really healthy. And then I finished uni, and like heaps of other people who study my degree, we have no idea what we're doing or have a job to go into. So I did a bunch of travel around the world and coached tennis in the States and did all sorts of different things, and then landed a job working in the mines in Western Australia. And while I was there, I was doing, I was just way out in the outback, in the remote sort of outback, and just living in a little 1,000-man mining camp surrounded by red dirt. And I was working 4 weeks in a row, and then I'd have 1 week off. And I decided that, my job was managing a gym there, and I'd have all these miners coming into the gym and asking me what they should be eating and what's the best diet to be on and how can they lose weight. And And the truth was, I really just didn't know what to say. I mean, I'd studied nutrition and I'd learned all this stuff, but then I really, at the end of the day, I didn't really know what I could tell them that was actually going to work for them. And so I decided to actually just try out a bunch of different things for myself and do a lot of like relearning and just reading. And I started to treat each like 4-week stint that I was up on the mind site each month as a little experimentation on myself. So I did 1 month was vegetarianism, another month I did raw food diet, another month I did isogenics, another month I did like a ketogenic diet. I did a couple of other ones, and then I ended up doing, and then I heard about paleo diet. So when I first heard about that, I thought, oh yeah, it's just some like CrossFitters diet. And then I started looking into it, because when I look into these diets, I'd also do a lot of research into their benefits and pros and cons, really. And then with the paleo diet, it made the most sense to me from its sort of I guess its background as to why you might like to try and eat this way. And then I tried eating like that, and it just made such a huge difference to my life and to my energy levels, that I just never really stopped. And so that was a big sort of change in my life, and I became quite passionate about just eating real food, and I was challenging what I'd been taught over the years and what I'd learned through the media and through just everything that I've seen around nutrition, and I just challenged those ideas and tested things out. And and then I came back to New Zealand and wanted to do something meaningful with that knowledge and try and help people. And that's when I started working with Clean Paleo with my business partner Ryan, and then from there we've now acquired another company, and we've built up a parent company called Riot Foods. And the idea is just to continue to build on this and continue to I guess provide and make healthy packaged whole food foods for everyone.
Absolutely. So for you, what is the most manageable thing about a paleo diet? Obviously it's simple. People look at it and see the tag and think, oh, and you mentioned this the other day in the media, that it's not about eating meat and eating steaks here. There's a bad meme of paleo diet about if you're a meat eater. But how did you describe it? Why do you find it so easily achieved?
Yeah, you're totally right about that meat eating thing. It's a common misconception that people just grab onto, and they think you're just this crazy meat eating sort of Neanderthal. But I describe my my diet as I guess it's it's a plant-based diet, and but I also have some ethically farmed meat on the side. For me, that's what it is. And the thing with following this kind of paleo lifestyle is that I don't do it 100% of the time. I don't let it define me. I view it as a framework or as a guideline for nutrition, for the ideal nutrition for the human body. And so basically I just use it as a guideline, so I know what's good for me and I know what I want to try and eat less of or minimize my intake of. And so I just I use it that way. I don't stick to it 100%. I don't go crazy on it. I don't think that's sort of I just don't think it's realistic to try and do that with any sort of diet or eating regime. So that's kind of how I do it.
Absolutely. It's probably about creating a relationship with the food you eat. And so when you have a mouthful or you sit down and you have a choice on a menu, and it's probably the best thing about eating out is often what's on the menu is nourishing and useful. But you go to the supermarket, are you one of these people that stays away from the middle? Your stuff's in the middle, but
yeah. I generally do try and stay away from the middle, but now our products have actually made it into the middle, which is part of what we're trying to do. Like we're trying to revolutionize the food industry, and actually bring health food, or healthy foods into those middle aisles, and actually actually have food in there where it's supposed to be. But at the moment, it's not even food, which is just crazy. So yeah, but when I do eat out, I generally try and have the most paleo kind of version of that I can. So if it's like a delicious looking burger, I'll probably get it just with lettuce buns, or I'll get it on a bit of salad or something like that. But every now and then I'll go nuts, because there's no substitute for it. You can't make a good paleo almond croissant, so full blown on that. And all that sort of stuff, because food is so social and emotional, and it's really important to keep your mind healthy and happy, because it's not just about what you're putting in your mouth, but it's also about enjoying what you're putting in your mouth.
100%. And so cooking at home, you two are often posting about it. It looks like a lot of fun in your house. I know in our house we're passionate about what we're putting on a plate. We go out and find recipes and try and make it as good as we can, and very guilty of food blogging it up. How does it sort of work in your household?
Yeah, we do like to cook. We're probably not as adventurous as we should be. We find that and this is one of the main complaints that a lot of people have about following a whole food paleo diet, is that it takes a lot of time, because you're having to prepare things and cook things from scratch generally. So we find that we do kind of go to our recipes and stuff that we know how to make that's kind of easy, or we've just got them ingrained in us, so they seem easy to us. But yeah, we've actually, Matilda and I are actually just about to launch another business, which is all around, it's going to be healthy pre-made meals. They're all going to be paleo, and they're delivered to your door. So it's something that we found that we really struggle with. So we were getting my food bag, and then we just found that some nights we just didn't even have time to cook. So we thought, God, there's got to be something out there that's like a healthy option, because we don't want to get takeaways all the time. And there are some healthy takeaway options, but really difficult to find healthy dinner takeaway options. There's a few lunch ones, but and so yeah, we thought, well, why don't we actually make something that would solve our problem? And I don't know, there might be a market out there, and we'll find out in the new year if that's when we launch. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Scratching your own itch.
Yeah, totally.
And so where does the business mindset come from? Obviously in university, learning sports and nutrition, and exercise physiology and things like that, it's very prescriptive, and it's something I'm extremely guilty of. Anatomy and optometry backgrounds, it's this is right and this is wrong, and maybe it is right when it's wrong. But anyway, to try and get creative and try to think big picture, and how can we scale this? Where does that come in? Where did you learn that sort of stuff? What's the drive behind it?
Yeah, I think I've always been very creative. I've always liked making things. I think that kind of my passion to make stuff, and to also to do things with a purpose. Finding this, I felt like I found this purpose. I wanted to help people and improve other people's health, and then that has since evolved into actually not just not just helping one individual person, but like trying to actually change the landscape of nutrition in New Zealand, because I think it's a little bit flawed in certain areas. So I think it comes from that. And then, to be honest, I think I just kind of fell into it when I decided to go into business with my business partner, Ryan. I think he's got an incredible business mind, and I've just kind of learnt a lot from him. We've learnt as we've gone, but he's probably the driving force even behind a lot of my sort of entrepreneurism. Could have even just sort of started from him, and then I've just kind of evolved and just gone with it. And yeah, it's kind of just this. I think it's a mental shift that happens where you decide that you're just not afraid to give something a go, because I think everyone, the only thing stopping people from giving something a crack is this fear that they'll fail. And once you get past that and you're ready to just give it a leap, or you're able to just like not even think about that failure and just push it from your mind, then then really you can just give anything a crack. And that's kind of what I've found, so where I find myself at the moment. And so far it's been working. A few failures, but that's all part of it.
Fantastic. So who do you guys work with for some mentorship, or what are some people that you sort of idolize or find your passion from?
I don't really know. I find a lot of
trailblazing.
Yeah, the thing is, I actually a lot of people say, recommend getting a mentor, a business mentor, and I probably should get a business mentor because I'm actually not that business savvy. I'm totally not that business savvy, but I'm just I know that what I'm good at is kind of being an ideas person and getting stuff moving, and I'm just so driven that if I want to make something happen, I won't stop until it happens. But I've got this idea that I'm only as good as the people that I surround myself with, and I might as well just, if there's a job that I don't know how to do, then I'm just going to find someone who can do it better than I can. And to only really and to try and just spend my time doing the stuff that only I can do, and try and outsource as much of the other stuff as I can, just to free up my time. So yeah, I guess my success is not really me. It's just the success of this sort of working organism that is just people and minds that kind of like to bring together and make work to make something. I'm not even very good at voicing what I'm trying to say, but yeah.
It's cool. Creating sort of a tribe and sharing the passion, I guess. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. So you said you grew up on a farm. What was sort of Art Green as a five-year-old primary school kid, and how does that show up today, man?
I was a kid who was just always out with a stick whacking bushes, by destroying mum's garden and climbing trees, and turning up at school in bare feet and doing all that sort of stuff. So I don't know how it really translates to today, but I think one thing that I'm really thankful for from growing up on a farm is just my connection with nature and food. I think there's a huge disconnect with a lot of people in the world who don't really understand where their foods come from, what it is. You have that sort of thing with meat. A lot of people don't really get that side of things, but then also when you look at packaged products, and you're like, how is this Nutrigrain figure eight, like how is that made? And I can't even imagine how that's been like grown in the ground, or in like what form that was, and then what process it's gone through to get to where it is now. And so that sort of stuff. So I think that's been one of the coolest things for me, that I've sort of translated from childhood to now. Yeah.
What's the scale were you talking, and what were you farming?
It was I wasn't farming, but Dad was. It was, I don't even know how big our farm was. It wasn't huge. Dad was just we had like a reasonably big lifestyle block, but then he kind of managed some next door neighbor farms and stuff, but it was mainly sheep. And then in subsequent years, when Dad went back to farming and I was working on in my uni holidays, coming up and doing heaps of, he had a lot of beef stock as well. So all round stuff.
So small country school, or shipped off to town?
Yeah, it was. So my first couple of years of school were just a small little school called Piranoa. I think there's about 50 students or something like that. It's tiny. So first couple of years there, and then we moved to Wellington after that, and went to another small primary school there. Yeah.
It is. And so what was the sports you're involved in that sparked your uni career?
I played every sport that I could. Athletics day was my favorite day at school throughout primary and secondary school. Absolutely loved it. And then I used to play a lot of rugby, played a lot of soccer, played a lot of tennis. So I kept myself really busy with all sorts of different sports, which was just and then throughout uni, my main ones were athletics, where I did javelin was my claim to fame. I came third in the national athletics comp one year, and then gave up after that because I wasn't improving. So I was like, I'm throwing in the towel.
Yeah. And did you say you coached some tennis?
Yeah, just at like a summer camp up in Maine in the States. So that was pretty cool, actually, coaching some very wealthy little young Jewish kids at this very, very wealthy camp. And they were, a lot of them were very spoiled, and it was a very different type of culture, but it was really cool as well.
Nice. So what did you sort of learn about yourself on your travels, and obviously being in a place that's surrounded by abundance and kids being able to do anything they want? What did you learn from that, and then consequently traveling around the world? What did you find about yourself?
The whole time I was just thinking, thank God I grew up in New Zealand. I feel like we just have a far better grasp of the world as a whole than a lot of these kids did at this summer camp. I guess then, from traveling, I just learned to do a lot of things, I guess just to back myself. And also I found that, especially traveling through the States, where it's a lot easier when you've got an accent and everyone thinks you're really cool because you've got an accent. But I found that you just, like, if I just put myself out there and I just went for it, like, good things would happen. As airy-fairy as that sounds, like, I just kind of live my life by that. And it seems to work really well. And I just try and keep really positive about everything and really just putting myself out there But then when I went to Australia to the mine, so I was there for like 2 years in total, and that was a big shift in me mentally, because I had a lot of time to myself. Like, my whole day was basically by myself, and then I'd take some like fitness classes for like 2 hours with some miners at the end of the day. And so I had so much downtime to just like be by myself. I started doing meditation, and I started doing all this stuff, and I really just kind of chilled out a little bit. And I kind of like found myself, but I totally did. And so that for me was a really big mental shift. And I learned to just be by myself, whereas, up until then I'd always needed people around me. So I just learned to be by myself and be a lot more independent, which was cool.
Nice. And so you touched on meditation. Is that still something you practice, or?
I go in and out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read so many things and heard a lot of talks on how beneficial it can be. And when I have done it, I kind of go through stints of being really motivated with it. And so I'll go for, say, like 1 or 2 months, trying to meditate every morning. And I really enjoy it when I do it. And I find it quite easy to slip into meditation. I've got good control over my mind, but I slip out of it as well. So something happens where I guess I stop valuing that as much as I value maybe sleeping in, or I value, exercising early in the morning. I might use that exercise as my meditation, or as my stress relief, or something like that. And so I I go through cycles, and and I'm not too worried about that. Like, I started thinking like, oh, why am I not sticking to this? And then I just thought, well, like, we work in cycles. The year goes round in a cycle. Like, you can't just try and stick to the same thing day in, day out. I think you kind of go a little bit numb mentally. So I kind of cycle through it, but I do value it, and I do enjoy it when I do it.
Nice. And apart from exercising regularly, are there any other habits that you try and implement as much as possible?
I try to read most nights, but that's mainly because I was trying to read like every night to learn something new. So I would be reading a book that I would benefit from. but then I decided that I was actually just going to start using that time to read, to switch off and to kind of relax and just and enjoy reading.
Mm-hmm.
And it also puts me in a really good space to sleep. I just always end up sleeping a lot better if I read before I sleep. So now I just kind of read nice, easy read novels or things like that. So I like to do that. Yeah, but then apart from that, I don't really have any habits that I must do. Yeah, for me, exercise is such a big part of my life, and I don't really, I try not, I try not to refer to it as exercise, but more rather like training or
Yeah.
just being active, because I just think exercise can have some negative connotations, or just just feels dull, sounds a bit dull. So I'm generally trying to be active by doing something I enjoy, like playing tennis or going for a swim or going for a kayak, or I will actually be training for something, because I like choosing events and goals and things to work towards and actually train for, because I just find it a bit more motivating. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love the term training rather than working out. It can just
Totally.
be training for life, but
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Just training for life.
yeah, being adaptable and moving and
Yeah.
extending that longevity. While we're on the topic of training, your Instagram profile has a nice slug on it, but last month you chose to do the movement challenge.
Yeah.
First off, how was it? How hard was it? When did it get easier? But then you keep changing it up, which was wicked. And then what does men's health mean to you?
Yeah. So yeah, for people who aren't sure what we're talking about, I did this. So yeah, for Movember, you can choose between, normally people grow a slug, but they're bringing in a new thing, which is a movement challenge. So it's sort of helping to get everyone involved, because a lot of people, guys too young, or they just can't grow a mo, or for women who want to get involved as well. So it's a movement challenge. You just make yourself a challenge or join in with someone else's challenge. It's some form of movement. For me, I decided that I'd like to burpee leap the height of Mount Everest. I decided that I wanted to do something that would be really challenging for me. I wanted to do, I do a bit of travel, and I wanted to do something that it would be an activity that I could do anywhere. So I could do it just, in a room. So, and that's when I thought of burpees, because it's, you can do them anywhere. They're a pretty difficult exercise, but they're also, I think one of the best bodyweight exercises that you can do. And I also wanted to do something that I knew would benefit me physically. So I wanted to do that because I thought I'd get a bit more fit and and just give it a go. So I knew I wanted to do burpees, and then I was like, well, I want to do something that's going to sound quite epic. So Mount Everest sounds pretty epic. So I looked up how high it was, and then I worked out that it would be 300 meters of burpee leaps every day, and I thought, okay, it sounds like a lot. Gave it a go. My first day I gave it a go, and I did like 300 1 meter jumps, and I thought, nah, this is too hard. I'm not going to be able to do this every day for a month. So then, and I put it on Instagram, and then someone messaged me and they said, actually, I think your leaps look like they're like more than a meter. Maybe you could do 1.5 meters and do 200 jumps. So then I actually got a tape measure. I measured out. I was like, oh, she's totally right. I could totally just do 200. And so I ended up just doing that. And for me, it was really cool because like every day having to do 200 was hard. But it also meant that I was working towards something big, which I really liked. So, and it kept me pretty honest. If I missed a day, having to do a catch-up day where I'd do a double up, man, that was a killer. So yeah, for the first first few days, I was getting really sore quads from landing, I think, from the leaps and then like the landing. And then I got over my legs, and then the second week, my wrists started to get a bit sore. So then I started getting this foam mat, and I was doing them on my fists. That stopped that, so that was good. And then it wasn't until about with 5 days to go that I actually think that I was had become significantly fitter and like fit to the exercise. And I noticed that I could, on my very first day, I was trying to go a steady, fast pace for the whole thing. I did it in about 25 minutes. And on the last day, or second last day, I think it was, I was doing the same thing, like not going too hard, but like steady, fast pace. And I did it in about 20 minutes. And I was like, that's a huge improvement. So it was really cool. And then, I decided to even now and then mix it up and make it a bit harder for myself and wear altitude training masks. I was like, that'll be mimic the conditions up in Mount Everest. And that made it really hard. That was pretty horrible. But no, it was cool. And it's I like to do. I think it's really important to talk about men's health and raise awareness for men's health. I think especially guys in New Zealand, I think we're getting a lot better at it, but I think historically we've been pretty closed about that sort of thing. Men are a bit too macho and we don't really like talking about that sort of stuff. So, and I think it encompasses, mental health and physical health and everything. So, I think just raising awareness about it and making it cool to talk about and just making it normal to talk about, I think is really good. So for me, that's why I like to get involved. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's good to see the conversation coming up. And like in my job as an optometrist, you get people come in and see the moustache, and it immediately breaks down that barrier. And when I have the conversation about their health, it's a meaningful one instead of a sheltered one. And why are you asking me that for? And I'm fine. I'm healthy. What does that mean for you? And we can go deeper, which is awesome. Yeah. When I spoke to you the other day about coming on board, it was in response to what you said to stuff, and there was, the new guidelines came out, and we had Grant Schofield on the other day, and he's still shaking his head about nutrition guidelines. Your conversation is what's important, and that's what Grant hit home. Outside of your business, why do you think it's important to share the message that this is paleo way or a low carbohydrate way or whole food way or whatever you want to talk about? Why that's important to share, and when you've got a guideline that is so sort of middle of the road, not doing anything, and it's the same as what we've already had, and we're facing this epidemic crisis of people being obese and unhealthy and diabetes going like this. Why do you see your part, and where do you see your part in all of that?
Yeah. I find that I actually go between being really passionate about it and wanting to do something about it, and then sometimes I just think it's too hard, and I'm just like, I'm talking to there's heaps of people that are like, who I had someone on Twitter today even saying something like, who I'm not taking dietary advice from someone who's not a nutritional scientist and all sorts of stuff, and it's like. And then for those people, I'm just like, I really don't care. Like, you just, but you can do what you want with your health. Like, but the problem is that those are the people that are influencing other people who, and they're misguiding them. And to say, it's so frustrating. And I think it's one of those things that is going to take a while. I think we're at the turning point now where more and more people are coming to terms with the fact that eating, essentially a paleo or version of paleo whole foods diet, not necessarily you're not sticking to a diet, but that's the food that encompasses that diet, that is the best for us nutritionally, whether or not there are heaps of things where the Ministry of Health talk about how it's it's too expensive and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, that may be true. It's definitely more expensive to eat whole foods, natural whole foods, than it is to eat your shitty fucking box of cornflakes. But it's not about that. It's not about it's not the Ministry of Food Economics. It's the Ministry of Health, and people need to know what is the best food for them from a a nutritional point of view. And I just think, for so long it has been it's been skewed by the people in the positions who decide on these nutritional guidelines. They are influenced by money from food companies that have that can gain out of these nutritional guidelines being having them in their food that they make in these guidelines.
And it's marketable as well, Yeah.
Totally, and they don't probably understand, they don't realize that what they're doing is potentially killing millions and millions of people through telling them that this type of food is good for them when it's simply not. And then you touched on it before, the rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, all of these things that are caused by nutrition that is it's backed up by these guidelines. It's crazy.
It's all very nuts. And tell you what, when I do venture into the middle, it might be to grab some of your stuff, but you see something marketable about, it's got this vitamin or something, but then you look at, like you say, a packet of Nutri-Grain, it's a figure 8, and I was having a discussion with my girlfriend yesterday, when you look at a bottle of Coke, you think, where is there a black fluid in nature that has bubbles in it? And you think, acid rain? And
Totally.
it's like how I see a bottle of Coke is, would you then go grab 20 teaspoons of sugar, put it in some water, stir it around, and make it black and knock it back? No, you wouldn't. But
no, absolutely not.
It's just there, and it's so easy, and it tastes good.
And it tastes good. No, it does taste good because that's what it's been designed to do. They've created in a lab, along with like all of the other food, and it's science. They've got the perfect combination of sweet, salty, fatty, and they've created it to taste good, to like trick our brains into thinking that it's going to be nutritious, but it's simply not.
It's pretty amazing. What have you sort of changed your mind on, or changed your tone on in the last couple of years? You're a few years over 25 now. They say that us blokes get our frontal cortex and start thinking long term. What's been sort of one big moment or big thing for you that's directing your life?
What have I changed? I've changed the way that I don't know, actually. I've changed the way that I have started like training. I used to train for aesthetic reasons, and now I'm more interested in training for longevity and quality of life, and also for sort of event specific stuff. But in saying being event specific, I like to try and be all round, so that I can I like to do a bit of running, I like to do a bit of cycling, I like to do kayaking, I like to do functional body weight fitness stuff, so that I can then apply this sort of all round fitness to almost any activity, because I like to do lots of different things. So I think I get a bit bored if I do one thing. So I changed my my way, my kind of mind around doing that. Whereas before I was more just training to try and look good and try and be, have muscles here, and not try and that sort of thing. So that's changed. I've also I've changed my I don't really know.
When you say about longevity there, and I don't know, it's something I've sort of started doing as well. few episodes back we interviewed a bloke called Keegan Smith from Australia, and he's big into, you can do a handstand one day and you can pick up 180 kgs another day on a deadlift, and you can do a dip, you can juggle, you can do anything basically. Yeah. Like I said, training for life. And then you look at some of the stuff around longevity and quality of life, and I was speaking with someone today about being able to lift your hands over your head. What really drives you in terms of longevity, and nutrition's all about longevity as well. What do you have any sort of trigger for that, or it's just something you're honing into?
I kind of, for this sort of thing, I think about, I actually always look to my dad. He's been my sort of role model, for as long as I can remember in terms of athletic ability. He's always had like a home gym made with like beer crates and a tractor axle as his bench press. And from when I was tiny, I'd be going and watching him do a workout or doing this and that. And so he's he's at the point now, he's getting a bit older, and he's stopped, like he does a lot of cycling now. He doesn't run as much because his body, he sort of gets a bit of a sore knee or something like that. And I kind of think that I want to be able to maybe not as intensely as I am now, but to pretty much do everything that I'm doing now or that I want to do until I'm really old, and I don't want to have to I guess for me it's just quality of life for when I get old. I'm thinking about when I'm really old. I don't want to have aches and pains and niggles, and I think that doing stuff now could cause that. So if I'm lifting huge weights and wearing out my joints and stuff with these really heavy weights, I think that could really affect me later on in life, and I don't think that you necessarily need to do that. I think you can train a lot smarter. So for me, that's what I'm thinking about with my longevity, and part of that is keeping my training and my activity really varied, and also trying to incorporate. I incorporate a lot of stretching into my whatever I'm doing, and I think that makes a big difference as well.
Nice. A different look at what it means to be healthy and things like that. You're good friends with Ben Warren. We've had some people in here do the test you did, giving him a stool sample, and I myself have just been to a kinesiologist that said there was a bit of stuff in my gut. How did you first become aware of gut health, and what have you adapted after consulting with Ben?
Yeah. So when I first learned about gut, I actually first sort of became a bit more aware about gut health from these guys up here in Auckland who have a company called Organic Mechanic, and they make kombucha.
Yeah, I know the guys here.
It's really, really cool people, and they're really passionate about what they do, and they make an incredible product. And they're really passionate about improving people's gut health, and so I kind of learned a little bit about that just through them. But did the stool samples with Ben. So I had a disaster because I did my stool sample. So for people who don't know, you've got to like physically poo in a little container and then scoop it and stick it in this thing, and you're like, oh god, this is disgusting. And then shake it up, and then So I did that, and I did my however many, like 3 days, or I can't even remember how many you do. But I did that, and then sent it off, and then like, oh no, sorry, we received it 1 day too late. So I then had to do it again. So I made sure that round 2 I didn't send it off too late. But the results came back, and I had my gut health was reasonably good, but I had low levels of some bacteria, and I also had what did they think I had? Do you remember, Matt? What did you have? Did you have something in your, when your stool samples? Parasite. Yeah, I think, and then they also thought that I might have. Oh no, you had a parasite. I didn't know. Sorry.
So you don't know, they had parasite, right?
She's not alone, don't worry.
Yeah, so from there I've actually been then I went on a course of I can't even remember what I went on a course of, something to up my gut bacteria. And yeah, it's gut bacteria is a thing that I actually really don't know enough about, and I probably should learn a bit more about, because I know it's so important in our health. And even like things like, I just think about if I have an upset tummy, how I will feel I've just got no energy as a direct result of just having a little upset tummy. And I'm like, that makes such a huge difference on your mood and like everything else that you're doing and that your body's trying to do. A lot of it starts with your gut. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's listen to Rhonda Patrick if you're ever looking for somebody to find out about gut health. And she was saying the other day that most of your serotonin is actually made in your gut. So you say about feeling good and feeling awake and having some energy. Do you take any, apart from some good quality organic mechanic kombucha, which I do love it. It's so good. Is there any other sort of prebiotic boosting stuff you take, or any kombucha? Sauerkrauts or kimchi or anything like that?
Yep. So we've got a jar of sauerkraut that I keep in the fridge, and I have every now and then. Probably not as much as I should, but I do like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, I kind of, my go-tos for gut bacteria would be like to eat a combination of kombucha, sauerkraut, and coconut yogurt, because I'm pretty sure that there's kind of a few different strands of bacteria through those three, which I think hit the main ones. Yeah.
Nice. And so, Riot Foods, you're looking for some funding? Is that what's going down? You and Ryan were doing the cheeky video today. Tell us the story about what's going on with Riot Foods, because it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. So Riot Foods. So we Riot Foods is our umbrella company, and under that sits Clean Paleo, Poppy and Olive, which is a nut butter company that we acquired earlier this year. Then we rebranded and relaunched, and that's going really well, which is very exciting. And then also Whole Foods Manufacturing, which is our manufacturing facility here in Auckland. So it's the only production facility that's that's certified paleo. So anyway, it's exciting for us, but it's not really exciting.
Yeah, it's cool.
So anyway, we basically we continue to grow, but we've just got so many different opportunities. Like we've been supplying Amazon through supplying the States through Amazon with like a couple of our products, and we send a shipment over there and it just goes like that. And we were like the Amazon choice for our Manuka Crunchy cereal, which means that people just push a button and it goes straight to them, because it was basically because ours was the highest, it was the best quality and also top selling product. So then Amazon chooses it as their choice or something like that. Anyway, and it goes like that. And then we have to, for us, the problem is our products are such high quality and they're so expensive to make. Like, I know that our products are like, up there with the most expensive cereal on the market, and same with our bread and stuff like that. And the reason is because it's just so expensive to make our products, because we use food. We don't use artificial crap. We use real whole foods. So for us, it's like we need this capital, this money, so we can actually make these products and then fulfill these orders, a lot of which are for overseas. We just got this last week, actually. We just got a huge contract with Coles in Australia, which means from for two of our biltong SKUs, our biltong flavors, that from January we're going to be supplying like, I don't know how many, like 600 supermarkets or something over there, which is like huge. And so it's like, yay, cool. And then we're just like, well, we're not really going to have a Christmas and New Year. We're going to be working, and then we're going to be, trying to, get the money to buy our, the raw materials to make our products. Is, it's a huge outlay. And then so the main part of our crowdfunding is so we can actually physically make our products to fill these orders and create these new markets overseas. But then also we're in the process of setting up a new manufacturing facility as well. So it's going to be like similar to what we've got now, but a bit bigger, and it'll allow us to also continue to keep growing and keeping up with the demand for our products. So yeah, there's heaps of cool stuff going on, and it's very exciting. But yeah, we basically just need a bit of help.
Absolutely. And if anybody out there that watches this wants to get involved, how do they go along, man?
So yeah, so what we're doing a crowdfunding capital raise through Pledge Me. So if anyone is interested, you just head along to pledgeme.co.nz, and you'll see our Riot Foods campaign going along there. And basically, it's a minimum of $500, so a minimum of $500 investment. Basically, you own a part of the company, and you share in the success that we have as we continue to grow. And we'll basically just continue to increase in how our business will just continue to keep being awesome. And nice. So your shares essentially will be worth a lot more in a few years. But also, every investor is going to receive discounts on all of our products for life, I think. So yeah, it's quite cool. It's very cool.
Nice, man. And is there anywhere else that people can find you? I know it's pretty simple, but if you want to, get your handles out there, man. And
yeah, totally. If they want to follow me, I'm on Instagram I'm at art_green.
Who took that, eh? Jeepers.
What's that?
Who took that, eh?
I was gutted, eh? And I got on early. Like I was an early adapter to Instagram, and Art Green's not a common name, so I don't know who he is, but I'll find him. Burn his phone. So yeah, Instagram is art_green. Facebook page is Art and Matilda. So I shared it with my fiance, who's got a parasite. Used to have a parasite.
Used to. Good.
Not anymore, thanks to Ben Warren.
Yeah, cheers, Bill Warren. And do you use the Twitter or?
Oh, nah. I'm not really a Twitter person. My Twitter is at @artgreen_.
Yeah.
But I just don't like. There's just too many social medias, and Instagram is the one that just has to. I'm sorry, take a back seat. And I also find that it's just
Twitter.
What's that?
Twitter takes.
Did I say Instagram? Oh shit! Sorry, I mean Twitter. Twitter takes back seat. I find that Twitter's also there's more. I think there's more negativity on Twitter, and I think it's easier to get at people to go straight to people and just be a bit negative. And I don't really want any part of it, so I kind of just stay off it because I just can't be bothered.
No, fair enough, mate. And hopefully they solve that because you're right. There's some. Yeah. Awesome, mate. Before you go, thanks so much for this. It's been absolutely awesome talking to you and getting inside the head of Art Green, and I'm so excited to see Riot Foods take off because it's great what you're doing. Is there anything that you'd like to leave people with?
I would just like to leave people with the thought that I reckon make your New Year's for one of your New Year's resolutions for anyone that's watching. Pick something. Pick something to train for. Pick an event, whether it's a half marathon or a swim or some sort of bike thing, or it's just like you want to go for a hike with mates. Pick something to train for, so then you can get a bit motivated with your activity. Because for me, I know that makes a huge difference. So, yeah.
No, awesome, brother. Thanks so much for this, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Been great.